Look at this photo. How long ago do you think it was taken? Maybe a couple of centuries ago, or maybe several thousand years? No, this is a modern society, a tribe that lives in Zealand. Even though they live with us at the same time, they have traditions that may seem wild to a modern person. These tribes practice rituals that they got from their ancestors. But where did they get this knowledge and why? Having met with modern people, does it end so badly for the latter? Let's figure it out. Today we are going to a place that looks like a paradise on the maps, New Zealand. Yes, these are the most incredible landscapes, where the Lord of the Rings was filmed and where cute kiwi birds live. But what if I told you that there is something else hidden behind this picture of idyllic nature? What if the history of this country is much more complicated and perhaps even a little secret? Year after year, travelers include New Zealand in the top 10 places they would like to visit, and no one leaves disappointed. Rocky shores, wide beaches, primeval forests, snow-capped mountains, impressive geysers. New Zealand's landscapes are truly majestic. The forests are home to many exotic birds that have evolved to fill niches usually occupied by mammals, and the coast is occupied by penguins, whales, seals. The local Maori people have lived here for 800 years, preserving unique customs. This amazing country allows you to get a variety of experiences in one trip. But this country also hides many secrets and mysteries. There are many legends and mysteries surrounding its past. For the first time in history, the data from its archaeological excavations have become an object of state secrets. So what secrets are hidden in the lands of this state? Let's figure it out. New Zealand may be home to ancient mythological giants. Researchers say the history of New Zealand as we know it may be incomplete. The island was once thought to have been first inhabited by the Maori in 1300, but the discovery of the Kaimanawa Wall, an enigmatic megalithic structure made of enormous stones, has us questioning that. The age and origin of the stones, laid with astonishing precision, raise more questions than they answer. The outer structure, known as the Wall, is controversial due to its apparent artificiality. The complexity of the design, the almost geometric precision of the stones, and the northward orientation recorded by archaeologist Barry Brailsford suggests deliberate design. These features, beyond some observers, suggest that the Wall may be part of a larger megalithic kingdom, the terms and purpose of which remain a mystery. The Wall in Kaimanawa Forest Park has a number of anomalous characteristics that suggest it may be a natural convention. Its precise north orientation, similar to other known megalithic structures, cannot be accidental. Archaeologist Barry Brailsford, studying the Wall, came to the conclusion that the stones were artificial and laid on top of each other and were not large formations. Identical sizes and unusually smooth surfaces of the blocks, only limited by seams between them, strengthen the hypothesis of the man-made origin of the Wall. These discoveries, published under the title The Mystery of the Megalith, raise the question of the possibilities of an ancient, previously unknown civilization in New Zealand, capable of creating such a structure. This wall, like an echo of the past, reveals a striking similarity to stone masonry in Cusco, Peru, and other parts of the world. Giant stone blocks are connected without mortar, demonstrating the technology of polygonal masonry. Bevels on stones, precise gaps, and smooth surfaces surprise with their precision. It seems as if ancient builders knew a secret that we cannot unravel. The way the stones are laid at the angle of the hill, and the third fragment has identical symmetry, enhances the sense of mystery. The exposed underground part of the wall indicates that it is not just a wall, but a more complex structure made of ignimbrite blocks. The presence of notches on the surface of the rhyolite adds mystery. Interestingly, volcanic rocks like those built by the wall can limit electrical currents, especially in regions of geological faults with significant magnetic fields. This suggests that the wall may function as a kind of energy container, using the natural forces of the earth. However, the New Zealand government does not admit that this structure is the development of an ancient civilization that existed on the islands before the Maori. The official version that the Kaimanawa Wall is a natural formation looks unconvincing, especially given the ban on archaeological excavations. Why hide the truth? Perhaps the government does not want the world to know about the Nephilim giants, who, according to legend, once inhabited the earth and built incredible structures. Evidence of their existence is found everywhere, from rock paintings to monumental statues, like those in the Vilnius Cathedral. According to researchers, the wall was built long before the Maori tribes arrived here, 200 years ago. If this information could be proven, then all the history books in New Zealand would have to be rewritten, and in New Zealand itself, heated debates would break out among the Maori tribes. That's why the locals try to keep this wall as quiet as they can, and we move on. Waipua Forest. The enchanted Waipua Forest holds not only the secrets of nature, but also traces of a mysterious past. Megalithic stone structures that don't fit into traditional Maori history are hidden among the giant kauri trees. Unusual earthen ramparts and embankments scattered throughout the forest add even more mystery. Who built these structures, and what civilization existed here before the Maori? These questions remain unanswered. One of the biggest mysteries of New Zealand is connected with archaeological excavations in the Waipua Forest that have been going on for the past 30 years. What the archaeologists found there is unknown, but according to some eyewitnesses, it is a huge pre-Moor city, consisting of more than 2,000 buildings, built of stone, spread over an area of 500 acres. Witnesses swear that Ned Nathan, the head of the New Zealand Archaeological Advisory Committee, having familiarized himself with the results of the radiocarbon analysis, loudly exclaimed, "But this is 500 years earlier than we got here." But the fact remains, in 1918, the New Zealand government, by special decree, classified all the results of these excavations for 75 years. This caused a storm of indignation throughout the country. The legality of the imposed ban on the publication of archaeological information was hotly debated in the press, in Parliament, and indignant letters were sent to the National Archives from all over the country. The government awkwardly justified itself and explained its position by political interests. Could these discoveries mean that New Zealand was once inhabited by other civilizations? Let's find out. What civilizations inhabited these lands before? There have been many speculations outside of academia about New Zealand's early settlers in recent times. These ideas tend to have aspects of conspiracy theories, as they contradict the scientific research of the last 100 years. The widespread use of these unfounded theories has been used by prominent politicians and public figures to attack Maori politics and culture. Maori traditions speak of all sorts of spirits, fairy creatures, giants, and cannibals who lived in parts of New Zealand when the Maori arrived. The fair-skinned Patuarehe are perhaps the most famous of these. Ngati Kura, Ngati Korakorako, and Ngati Terehu are said to be subgroups. According to oral traditions, the Patuarehe taught the Maori weaving and net-making and were unable to go outside during the day. The Ponaturi were similar in that they could not stand sunlight and lived in the ocean. A very large eagle, with a wingspan of nearly 3 meters and enormous talons capable of crushing bones, the ancient Haast's eagle was one of the most feared predators in New Zealand, the largest eagle to ever exist. It reigned over the plains of both New Zealand islands until the Maori settled the land around the 15th century. Research has shown that the 15-kilogram eagle arrived in New Zealand around 700,000 years ago and also filled an empty space in the island's ecosystem. As University of Otago biological anthropologist Dr. Michael Knapp explained, there were no other native mammals in New Zealand's prehistoric wilderness at the time, apart from 2 species of bats. There was no predator that could hunt large birds, such as the many species of moa, a prehistoric flightless bird similar to a modern ostrich, tass, that called New Zealand their home, Knapp said. Saber-toothed dolphin, moreover, bones of a saber-toothed dolphin, Iodelphus, were found in New Zealand, and it's like a greeting from the past when such cool predators swam in our seas. Can you imagine how much we still don't know about our planet? This find makes you think about how the world around us has changed and what secrets it still hides. Ancient bird. In 1986, young archaeologists decided to visit a karst cave in a mountain located in New Zealand. It was there that they came across a terrible find in the form of incomprehensible bones covered in thick skin in some places. The strange animal seemed very scary in appearance. It had a beak and huge claws, and the students decided that they had discovered a new species of animal, or that it was the inhabitant of hell himself who had climbed to Earth. Later, it turned out that these were the remains of the ancient moa bird, well preserved in a cave for 3,000 years. In appearance, it looked like an ostrich and scared the young people a lot. There is a theory that such birds can live in this country to this day. According to scientists, with the appearance of man, the history of the development of giants on the New Zealand islands ended, partly because the ecosystem ceased to be closed, and partly because people very successfully filled all the free niches that had appeared since then. Scientists have known for a long time that amazing and often large animals and birds lived in New Zealand. They also know the reasons for the appearance of giants, the remoteness and isolation of the ecosystem, the absence of large predators, and the abundance of a wide variety of food. The results of recent studies have even allowed paleontologists to compile a list of the largest creatures that have ever lived on the islands. Other strange finds in New Zealand, and at the moment there is no scientific evidence of the existence of giants. But there is some information that in New Zealand in 1959, huge skeletons with red painted skulls were found. Double rows of teeth, sulhati, were visible in the mouths of the skulls, and on their hands and feet they had not 5, but 6 fingers. According to some information, a certain number of giant remains ended up in the University of California and the Smithsonian Institution, where they were locked in secret storage. There are photographs from the archives that supposedly depict those very skeletons. However, there is a version that they are a fake. Although researcher El Marzulli assured that the remains were real and that the 6th finger on the hand of one of the skeletons was clearly visible. In 1962, Glidden, feeling that he had not long to live, sold his entire collection for a modest sum of $5,000. He died in 1967 at the age of 87. It is still unclear whether Ralph Glidden was just a hoaxer or whether he really found the remains of representatives of an unknown race. Alas, there is no scientific evidence to confirm this fact.